NFL analyst and former president of the NFL Players Union, Domonique Foxworth, joining us now. Fox, there's a lot to pour through in that 14-minute conversation between you and Elle. What's your initial reaction to what you heard just now from Hue Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, it just brings to mind all the things that we've all heard for many years, and I think as an interesting kind of premise has been kind of put forward by Brian Flores that Hue Jackson seems to also agree with is that sometimes the black coach is hired for this express purpose. Like when the team has made a decision, the higher ups have decided that they are going to go into some sort of draft capital accumulation and losing slash tanking strategy. They bring in the black coach and they expect him to kind of endure all of this. And I think David Culley could be another name that you throw in there where it seemed obvious that Houston was not looking for their long-term answer there and they were expecting to have a rough run and they brought in a coach to kind of ride this out. So that's concerning also to think that how many other times this might have happened throughout history that we're giving a coach or a black coach is giving what looks like an opportunity, but it's not actually. He's meant to be just a scapegoat or a Band-Aid for an organization that has entirely different plans. So I'm happy to hear that Brian Flores seemed to be opposed to it, and I'm sure lots of other coaches would be opposed to it. It's really problematic, not just to the coaches, but also to the players who have sacrificed a lot to get to that spot, to think that their careers could be cut short, frankly, because we all understand how interconnected a game football is. So, like, hypothetically, assume you're a quarterback in that situation. They're not trying to get the best offensive line for you. They're not trying to get the best receivers for you or your receiver. And then you end up with stats that you can't use to move on to another location because the team is not interested in providing you with the best chance to succeed, even though you're trying to do your best to succeed for them.
Some of the talking points here that you brought up, 1-31 his first 2 years. He was offered bonus money, not interested in the bonus money, but his comment to Jimmy Haslam after the first 2 seasons, "You have killed my career." And then Haslam saying, "Well, make it right." And then he was given a contract extension that lasted 8 games. And then he was fired after just 2 wins. With the Flores situation, how do we resolve this, especially you being a player on the other side where you're giving everything? How do we resolve this for the integrity of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I can't resolve it. I don't have that power. It's
But,
kind
but
of
what would be
frustrating.
your suggestion?
Right.
What would be your suggestion? How would we resolve it?
Yeah, I kind of vacillate between minorly optimistic and majorly pessimistic, frankly, when we're looking at major social issues like this, because there are people who own those teams, who have power, who are not um, comfortable, frankly, with being told what to do. And they have not changed in the decades that they've been around, in the decades since the Rooney Rule was instituted. It does not seem that there's been any change. So I'm not sure how you change people. I know this morning Brian Flores kept saying that he wanted to change the hearts and minds of the team owners. Yeah, I'm nowhere near that Pollyanna-ish about what's going to happen with calcified individuals, full grown people who've been doing this their entire lives.
Mm.
And I would push back. I know oftentimes we get the argument that they own the team so they can make whatever decision they want. I mean, I guess that's true, but they also like belong to us. Like we've invested in them in many ways, in that like you can point to stadium financing and tax benefits. You can point to the fact that they're allowed to exist as in violation of antitrust laws as a legal monopoly, in part because the government that we elect has given them that right. So like that, they owe us something back for that, and we don't get dividends, we don't get money, we get entertainment, but we don't get the remuneration for the investment that we've made. And all we expect is that you run your organization in a fair way. And so I think that yes, they own the teams, and for that they get all the money. They get the billions of dollars in franchise value. They get all the revenue year to year. They get to exist as a monopoly. But all we want you to do is be fair and not set up black coaches to fail and not ignore black coaches and not pretend like there aren't enough black coaches in the pipeline when you're more than willing to go outside of the pipeline for certain hires. Like that's all we ask in return for all the benefits, frankly, that we afford these owners of these teams. And the last thing I'll say is we're probably Roger Goodell is going to have a press conference because of the Super Bowl, and we're going to pepper him with questions, which I think is a fair thing to do. But understand that Roger Goodell in the league office, like their office is pretty good when it comes to diversity. Like you look at the executives that they have there are plenty of black people. There's plenty of former players. There are plenty of women in vice president in leadership roles, but he can't control the league. So when we
Mm-hmm.
pepper him with questions, we need to understand that any people in media that have access to owners, those are the people that you need to
Yeah,
ask
he
these
works.
questions of.
He works for the 32 teams, no doubt about
Right.
that. As a guy that was a former rep for the players' union, how do you think this sits inside locker rooms moving forward with players when they start to notice that teams are cutting players and veterans and the situation with the Browns? I mean, RG3 brought this up earlier on NFL Live. He's going to join us later on SportsCenter, that he noticed a bunch of veterans were cut before the season started when he was with the Browns, when Hue Jackson was there. How do you think this will play out now moving forward with players specifically?
Right. I mean, the players will be angry. They see what happens. They understand it. But no individual player has enough power to do anything about any of this. And I think that's what it comes down to in any situation, social or sports or political. Like there are people who have more power than others. And the power from the workers in this case, the laborers in this case, and the players is the same as the power anywhere else. It comes with collective action. And so that's the point of the players union. The coaches don't have the same type of protection, but if anyone wants anything to get done about this, like they're going to have to band together. And I hope that Hue Jackson isn't the only one that's going to come to Brian Flores's side in this, because Brian Flores's claims can be discredited if he's one person out there by himself, but you can't discredit 20 to 40 other people who have the same story.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.